Okay, are we live? What up, ladies and gents? It's your favorite Asian robot and hopefully your favorite Darktide partner. Alright, the Wok, the people's champion, is going to show you today how to build a Smite Psyker. Many of you have been asking me about this build. I'm here to deliver. Here is what we've done after, well, here's what we've learned after all of our tests, okay? So, first and foremost, you know what's coming. It is time for the disappearing camera. Ghostly, right? Okay. So for the Smite Psyker, what you guys need to understand is, first and foremost, there are two staffs that you can use with this. The build itself will work with both staffs, but there are some optional choices in the build, which I'll go through later. Let me begin by demonstrating Smite itself, what it does, and how it works. This is the core. Smite is the core of the build. I mean, it's kind of obvious, it's in the title, but the reason why it's so good is because it offers some good CC. There is also an infinite Smite bug, which many of you know about. If you take Empowered Psionics, Smite is currently infinite, as long as you've got, when you use it with a charge of Empowered Psionics. That said, the ideal build for this loadout to pass Auric missions, alright, is actually not to abuse that bug. I know it sounds weird, but it actually does better if you choose not to abuse that, because you can get more damage out of your other elements, and Smite is just used as a CC. Smite itself can be charged up, okay, where it'll allow it to spread much more quickly and dish out damage decently fast. However, take note that it takes you a full charge just to kill a horde, okay? And even then, some of the horde doesn't die. Smite does not deal a lot of damage. It can CC really well, but in general, the damage that it deals, even after spending all this time, is minimal. Okay? What you're using it for is the CC. More importantly than that, if you use your Smite all the way and quell it there, it doesn't provide the knockdown effect. If instead you use it like so, okay, and stop, it provides a knockdown. See how the the Dread Gunner got thrown? Yeah, it does that. So Smite, once it spreads, will knock down these targets because you do a little push as long as you don't reach 100 peril. So you can use it for a good knockdown effect. That being said, it only knocks down certain targets. Okay? It will not knock down, it will push them a little bit, but it will not knock down the Crusher, Bulwark, the Reaper, I believe. None of these get knocked down. Yeah, they do get flung a little bit, but not knocked down. As for your specialists, okay, all of them get pushed back at least. The sniper gets totally knocked down. So Smite can be good CC. It'll stun them while the Smite is ongoing, but you have to be aware that it's not going to go on forever. Okay? This is something that is crucial to understand before you even begin working on Smite. Okay? Once you understand what it's for and what purpose it serves, you can then learn about what kind of loadout suits Smite, because your loadout is here to shore up its weaknesses. Mainly, your loadout is here to deal the damage. Smite is just for the CC and to assist your team with that CC. It is a team-focused skill and very useful for good team play. However, okay, there are, like I said, weaknesses that you do have to be aware of, right? Let's go into the loadouts now. Let's talk about what we need to make this build a reality. Starting with your gear, okay? The first choice is the Ulysses Mark V Blaze Force Sword. You can also replace it with the Chain Sword or the Dueling Sword, whatever helps you deal with hordes. Your melee weapon, okay, I know I still pronounce it melee, but I'll try to say melee whenever I can, yeah? Your melee weapon ideally needs to be able to deal with hordes. The blessings on your melee weapon don't really matter, okay? You can go with anything you like. I tend to choose Deflector with this, all right, just because in case I ever need to block a bullet for a second, it works. I choose the Force Sword for the unlimited dodges. And in general, the perks for your weapon would be your critical hit chance, pretty standard, and your damage to either Maniacs, Carapace Armor, whatever you struggle to deal with. In my case, it's mostly Maniacs to deal with mutants, all right? I leave my Carapace Armor to my Surge Staff. Now, the stats for your sword or your melee weapon in general should be highest possible damage. Go for all the damage stats. If you're going to use the Force Sword like mine, I would go for damage, finesse. These two are your primary things that you need. First target is pretty useful. It adds a damage multiplier, especially when you're striking the mutants. Mobility is good because this way you can dodge better and move faster and take advantage of your unlimited dodges even more. Warp resistance is your dumb stat because it doesn't really matter. If you watch my peril management video, you know, that should be pretty clear. For your staff, right, you can use two different staffs with this build. The combat demonstration showcases the Surge Staff gameplay of this build, but you can use either the Surge Staff or the Voidstrike Staff. Both are perfectly acceptable options that you can deploy in the field and dish out plenty of damage. All right. For the Surge Staff, I tend to prefer 10% range damage versus elites. In fact, sorry, let me go in. I tend to prefer increased range critical strike chance as a perk and 10% range damage to elites. This is usually quite crucial for you because these perks, the Surge Staff itself is a crit-based staff. So having the additional crit chance is crucial, all right, to take advantage of the critical bonus. More importantly than that, you are kind of going to have to take, you are kind of also going to have to take into account of the fact that the Surge Staff is generally a high damage target for dealing with elite specialists, things like that. So I chose 10% range damage to elites so I can kill off the elites faster, especially crushers, bulwarks, things like that. Okay, specialists were less of a concern because the Surge Staff can kill most specialists, and for the mutants, you will want to use your Force Sword for them once they get in close and you've dodged them. Yeah. For blessings, Warp Nexus and Warp Flurry are pretty standard for the Surge Staff. These two are your best choice. Okay. And stats. My bad. Stats. Highest damage, charge rate is the most important. Critical bonus. These three are your core stats. Try to get these three as high as possible. Okay. Your warp resistance is your next most important stat. Quell speed doesn't really matter. Try not to use it as a dump stat. You will want at least a 50% quell speed. But considering the fact that you will have solidity, I keep trying to call it solidify, but I'm pretty sure it's called solidity. You will have an additional 30% quell speed on top of that. Okay, so that is what I've loaded in. For the Voidstrike staff, for those that want an example, I chose to go with, again, Warp Nexus, Warp Flurry, but that's because I don't have the Surge Blessing. I really do want to try it out when I get it, but since I don't have it, Warp Flurry is a core blessing that is necessary because charge time is your main enemy. Okay, the Voidstrike staff charges relatively slowly compared to, say, the Surge staff. So you do want your Warp Flurry in there. Next, you want your ranged critical strike chance. And I chose damage to flak armored enemies. Now you might be thinking, wait a second, this Voidstrike staff, why wouldn't you take damage to elites or damage to carapace armor or something like that? Well, there is actually a very good reason for this. It is because the Voidstrike staff does so much damage that it is way better for you to be able to kill the flak armored enemies more reliably and consistently. Since it is one of the most popular armor types in the game, it's better to be able to one-shot them. So you can focus on two-shotting crushers, bulwarks, things like that, whatever else you need. All right, so this is why I chose to go that road. However, feel free to modify the flak armored enemies perk to whatever other damage perk you like. Just make sure you have the critical strike chance perk up there because there's no reason to forego those critical strikes. Okay? All right, stats-wise, damage and blast. Damage is the most important. Charge rate is the second most important. Try to roll above 60% no matter what. All right? Anything above 70% would be really good, but you can't modify the charge rate that much. Regardless, the fastest charge rate that you can get is still 1.6 seconds. So you rely more on Warp Flurry than anything to be able to charge and blast fast. Blast radius is very helpful because it makes your blast much easier to hit targets with. All right, let me just put it simply like that. Warp resistance is a bit less important, but a good value above 60 is kind of crucial. You really do need that. Quell speed is sort of your dump stat, but I would say for this staff, try to have it above 60. In this case, I happen to roll really good quell speed, but my main focus would have been warp resistance. This would have been a lot more helpful to me, as well as charge rate. But, you know, I'm rolling this staff until I get something better because I haven't found anything better than the staff for now. For now. Okay? For the Voidstrike staff, that's pretty much it. So that covers the ranged weapon and the melee weapon. Now, for your Curios, I'm still running the same loadout. Toughness, health, stamina. This gets me through almost every bit of content. Perk is always damage resistance gunners. Toughness, regeneration, speed are my 2 chosen perks. And then the third perk is usually combat ability regeneration if you can get your hands on it. Or whatever else you can get your hands on. I can understand it can be quite difficult to get exactly the right stuff. Okay, so that pretty much resolves all the issues for your perks, for your weapons and curios. Now let's go into the talent tree. Okay, we're going to explain the talent tree to you, and I'm going to show you where you can change things, where you cannot change things. All right, so first and foremost, what I did with the upper part of the tree is very simple. I went with Quietude and Warp Expenditure along with Battle Meditation. These 3 are crucial. Toughness boost, and then Smite. Now, Lightning Storm here is extremely beneficial for Smite. You kind of want it because having an additional jump means 1 additional stun. It might not sound like much, but it can be pretty crucial in the actual field. I have felt a lot less comfortable without this. Okay, the Enfeeble is useful. Do take it if you have a very good team, but for the most part, I don't find it that useful. Instead, I went with Perilous Combustion so that if I'm killing specials and elites with my Voidstrike staff, I'm also burning everybody around them, giving me a little more extra damage. But if you really want it Enfeeble, I would drop this and go with Enfeeble instead. Okay? This 1 point here, all right, on Perilous Combustion is actually your free point. If you don't feel comfortable with it, move it wherever you like. Okay, there are no wrong answers for this. You can move it freely. You will come down here and then go for Mind in Motion. Okay, so Toughness, Damage Reduction, Mind in Motion, Inspiring Presence. Grab your Kinetic Presence. You're going to need this, all right, to help you and your team out in killing specials and elites faster. 1 with the Warp. Peril Resistance. Grab your Venting Shriek. Okay, Becalming Eruption, Creeping Flames. Now, Creeping Flames is good in this build because you can also use your Venting Shriek as an AoE for hordes. By burning them all by screaming, all right, at high peril, you can basically apply some very good stacks of Soul Blaze to them and also gain some good resistance for peril, which will in turn allow you to smite for longer. Okay? The other thing that you need to take into account is the Keystone passive with this. And for the Keystone passive, you're going to go down Puppet Master to Warp Siphon. The additional warp charges that you get will boost your damage and also reduce peril generation, okay, give you the higher base damage, and you'll be able to gain them, you know, whenever you or an ally in coherency kill an enemy, the usual stuff, all right? Solidity will help you quell faster. And the coherency aura, which is this, will basically be increased by 50%, which is really decent, all right, to keep everybody in line. Okay, Warp Rider and the 10% health boost are also things that will usually be taken on every build. And of course, the critical chance is very useful here. Your free point in Perilous Combustion, if you don't like it there, you can choose to put in Warp Battery for an extra 8% damage. You can choose to put in Kinetic Deflection if you really want that one. You can even go for some Toughness Damage Reduction if you so choose, okay? It's really up to you. Like, if you don't find this useful at all, change it freely, okay? That brings us to the end of the talent tree explanation for this build. I know this was a lot faster than other builds because I didn't construct it right from the beginning. This is because the Smite build is relatively straightforward and many of you have seen all of these talents before. You understand how it works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you a little bit about the playstyle for Smite Psyker. You probably already have seen this in the combat demonstration video, which I know it's not going to be up at the time that this video is released, but the combat demonstration has been shown multiple times on stream, and the video for the combat demonstration, I do beg your pardon, but it will be released tomorrow. So it'll be released about 24 hours after this video drops. If you have not seen the combat demonstration, don't worry, it will be there. The link will appear in the description of the video, so make sure to come back to this video in about a day, and you'll be able to see the combat demonstration. Okay? This is because of my uploading timings, and it does take a while to upload said combat demonstration, so I do sincerely apologize that it's not up immediately, okay? I promise it'll be up within 24 hours, and then the coming soon will change to the link of the video, which will be on my sub channel, and you'll be able to review it there if you want to review the combat demonstration that we did live on stream. However, you can also tune in live on stream to see the Smite Psyker in action during the streams when I played it, okay? Grand. The playstyle for this build is fairly simple. When you see hordes coming in, say you're using the Surge Staff or you're just using it in general, what I would normally do is I would start by hitting bulwarks, things like that. I would reduce my peril, you know, I'll start hitting the armored targets as much as I can, wipe them all out real quickly. Then once they are completely wiped out, okay, or if there's a big horde coming in, I will then switch over and start blasting the hordes, okay? If they are a small horde, once the lightning is chained to all targets, I'll quickly push back the horde, quell, chain to all targets, and try to hold them back, alright? This is a smarter decision because this way you can keep the horde reeling and off its feet, alright? And away from your team. Don't just hold all the way. I mean, you can also hold all the way if you think your team can take advantage of it quickly enough, or if you just want to build up peril and build up damage on the enemy. But in general, what I've learned is that it's probably best to just let it go rather than letting it end. If in some panic situations, it might feel like you cannot let go, but if you're dealing with the hordes, this is probably a smarter way to do it. Yes, there's no infinite damage bug, but as you can see, you will still be able to deal with things fairly quickly, so long as you're efficient in your management. Remember that solidity is here to help you, so make sure you take advantage of it. Alright? And whenever I can smite no longer, or if there's a few targets only, or armor targets, I switch to my Surge Staff and deal with that. If you truly get overwhelmed, don't worry, you've got your Force Sword, your Illusi, to help you out, and this will be a big help to you. If you seriously get in serious trouble, now I've tried Smite with the bubble, I've tried Smite with several other things, but I chose Venting Shriek in the end because after all the testing, Venting Shriek really proved to be the best. Alright? Use it to burn out targets, use it to save yourself in case you go crazy with your staff and attempt to explode. However, I will also state this. If you find that Venting Shriek does not provide any value to you, or that you're not seeing the value from it, feel free to take Telekine Shield, but not Scryer's Gaze. This will result in you exploding even more. So you can take Telekine Shield if you want to, but throughout all my tests of a Smite-based Psyker, I found that Venting Shriek does the best, in my opinion, because the Soul Blaze stacks and the ability to hit a horde with it is very, very useful, in my opinion. So if I've been busy, say, charging up peril all day, you know, doing my usual perilous thing, and wiping out my opponents as quickly as possible, alright, I find that a good Venting Shriek will just help me burn through everything. I can immediately get my Smite loaded up after that, and burn through them even faster, you know? So that is what I would generally do. For in my like current knowledge of the game, that is the kind of playstyle I would adopt with this. Alright? That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy the Smite Psyker as much as I have enjoyed playing around with it on stream. This is the build for you guys. Once again, let me offer my sincerest apologies for the combat demonstration not being up today. I really wanted to upload it, you know, so that it was synchronized with the video, but for some reason my YouTube was not allowing me to upload it onto my sub channel, so I do apologize for that. I will get it done within 24 hours. You have my word, but you also have my sincerest apologies, okay? Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. If you would like to support the channel further, you can grab a channel membership, send super thanks on YouTube, you can send super chats while on stream. All of this will get you a shout out. In fact, we're about to do shout outs very soon, alright? Tips, link is in the description. Alright, all of this helps feed my family and help me make more content even faster for you guys. Okay? So here are the shoutouts because you guys have given me so much love these days. Thank you so much to everybody who has, you know, contributed, shown some love, even just those people who are just viewing and sharing my content. You guys don't know how much it means to me. I've never hit 100 views before in my life. I still can't believe that I hit it that day, but thank you guys so much for making it possible. October's Big Wig supporters are River Archer 124 as our top tipper. Our top tipper list goes to Vazgen, Our top super chatter is Jason Kun. Our top super chatter list goes for Strix, John Taylor, Rivarcher124. Thank you guys so much. Now let's thank the channel members that make this video possible. Okay, all the way down. There we are. Come on, show me my members list. Now, let me start the thanks off for the cool and weird bots. Thank you guys so much. They don't get individual shoutouts, but as a collective, they are awesome. And we thank you guys so much for being around and being a part of the community. Our top supporters, Big Chungus at the only fan level, one of our largest supporters. We have Death Dawning 982, one of our longest and largest supporters. He's at the plus ultra level. We've got Yuri, Jason Kun, Jerry Fast, Rogue Assassin, Zach MG at the prestige tier. Thank you guys so much. For our honored robots, let me thank Nightshade, Corey Ryu, Bob John Cube, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Syed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, and Benjamin Savage. And Syed, congratulations to your young family. I hope your baby will be born healthy. Thank you so much for watching my content. Thank you so much for supporting my content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a good one. Catch you on stream, okay? Don't do any weird things that I wouldn't do. Do all the weird things I would do. Bye.